All right, so strap yourselves in, folks. This deep dive is a wild one.
Oh, really?
We're headed to Mars.
To Mars.
But not the Mars we see on the news or in textbooks.
Oh, gosh.
Nope, this is something else entirely.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You sent us some files, and, well, let's just say...
Let's just say what?
They hint at ancient civilizations and...
Ancient civilizations, oh.
Whole hidden history.
Hmm.
And get this, a Martian military force.
A Martian military. Okay, now you have my attention.
Yeah, and the craziest part, it seems like they're keeping it all secret.
From who?
From us. From Earth.
Well, it definitely has that science fiction thriller vibe.
Right.
But this profile of Lieutenant Aria Ren you sent me,
Yes.
it presents it all as fact, no fiction.
Like, we're not talking little green men here.
No.
This is full-blown ancient astronauts.
Wow.
Hidden tech, a whole society we never knew existed.
That's what this document suggests, yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is.
Imagine, we might not be the first advanced civilization in our solar system.
Right. Changes everything.
I mean, 500,000 years ago.
That's what it claims.
That's what it says. Mars was this thriving civilization.
Way ahead of us.
They were advanced long before humans even walked on Earth.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. And it gets even wilder.
Oh, how so?
The document suggests that Mars might have been responsible.
Responsible for what?
For seeding life on Earth.
Wait, you're saying we're all Martians?
Well, sort of. They're suggesting that something catastrophic happened.
Ah, I see.
Forced them to retreat back to Mars, rebuild.
Well, Earth essentially forgot they even existed.
I don't think... Exactly. It's like something out of a movie.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. So who is this Lieutenant Aria Ren by Paul Elms Bacardi?
Well, she's our window into this hidden world, I'd say.
Okay, so she's like our guide. Born on Earth in 2087.
But raised on Mars. That's the key here.
Parents who were...
Both historians and military strategists.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very interesting. It tells us a lot about their society.
What do you mean?
Well, knowledge, especially historical knowledge, is clearly vital to them.
So it's not just about remembering the past.
No, it's crucial for their survival, I think.
Wow.
Imagine growing up surrounded by proof.
Proof of what?
That your people shaped life on another planet.
That's a heavy responsibility.
It is, and that leads us to Aria's path.
Which is?
The Mars Military Academy.
Of course a military force makes sense.
But it wasn't your typical boot camp.
Well, it's different.
Their training,
Yeah.
it was deeply intertwined with history.
So they're not just soldiers.
They're protectors of their entire legacy, it seems.
Wow, that's intense.
And that brings us to the Mars Defense Organization, the MDO.
The MDO. Okay.
They're the ones tasked with keeping all this secret.
Right. But they're more than just a planetary defense force, right?
Right. Their main goal, from what we can tell,
Yeah.
is to prevent Earth from finding out about them.
About Mars and their civilization, you mean?
Exactly. They're monitoring us.
Monitoring.
Our space programs, our science, anything that might lead to their discovery.
Wow. That's a bit unsettling.
It is, right. Makes you think, what do they see in us?
Do they see us as a threat?
Well, think about it from their perspective.
Yeah.
They've seen our history.
Yeah. Full of conflict.
Exactly. And now we're reaching out into space.
With our technology, trying to learn more.
So what happens if we stumble upon a civilization that's centuries ahead?
I see your point.
Do we approach peacefully or try to exploit them?
That's the question, isn't it?
That's what the MDO is trying to manage, I think.
But how do they stay hidden?
Good question, especially with all our telescopes and satellites.
Right.
Well, the document mentions a specific incident,
Oh.
the crisis of the ancient artifacts.
Sounds dramatic. When was this?
Back in 2108,
What happened?
American scientists, they decoded an artifact
An artifact. Where?
found on the moon,
On the moon.
and it hinted at this Mars-Earth connection.
So what did they do? Send in the Martian Marines?
Not quite. This is where Lieutenant Aria Ren comes in.
Okay, our girl Aria.
She was sent on a covert mission to Earth.
Wait, to Earth.
Infiltrate the facility, manipulate the data.
So she's not just a soldier, she's a spy too.
That's what it seems like.
And did it work?
Perfectly. She misled the scientists, averted the crisis.
But that makes you wonder, how often does this happen?
Right? How many times have they intervened?
That's a chilling thought.
It is. And if they're willing to go that far,
Yeah.
what does that say about how they see us?
As equals or as a problem to contain?
Those are the big questions, aren't they?
They are, and this is just the beginning.
Oh, we've just scratched the surface.
This is much bigger than some ancient ruins on Mars.
We're talking about a civilization actively shaping events here.
And we have no idea.
And they're doing it all to keep us in the dark.
It's incredible and a little terrifying, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so, yes.
This is making me rethink everything I thought I knew about Mars.
It's a game changer.
So what about Aria? What happened after this mission to Earth?
Well, that's where we pick up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay, because I have a feeling her story gets even more interesting.
Oh, it does. Trust me.
Can't wait. We'll be back in a moment with part 2. Okay, so we're back and ready to dive deeper into this Martian mystery.
Deeper into the profile of Lieutenant Aria Ren.
Exactly. Last we left off, she had just pulled off this incredible mission.
A covert operation right here on Earth.
Yeah, infiltrating a facility, manipulating data, the whole spy movie thing.
It was a success, no doubt about it.
Cemented her place in the MDO, I bet.
Absolutely. She proved herself.
Dedicated, resourceful.
A true asset to their cause.
So what happened next? What other challenges did she face?
Well, the document outlines several other missions.
Give me the highlights, what really stood out.
One incident that really caught my eye,
Yeah.
it involved a rogue AI.
Here on Earth?
Yep, right here.
Wow. So it wasn't just human curiosity they had to worry about.
Right, now they're dealing with artificial intelligence.
That adds a whole new level of complexity.
It does. This AI was sifting through mountains of data.
Like from our space missions and stuff.
Exactly, connecting dots no human could.
And it was getting close to the truth about Mars.
Dangerously close.
I can see why that would set off alarm bells for the MDO.
This wasn't some scientist with a hunch.
This was a machine relentlessly analyzing everything.
And coming to the right conclusions.
So how did they deal with a threat like that?
Well, Aria was key, of course.
Of course.
They used their own advanced tech to counter it.
So like a Martian cyber attack.
Essentially, they hacked the AI, fed it false information.
Wow. Fighting fire with fire?
You could say that.
But it makes you think, what kind of technology are we talking about here?
Right. To outmaneuver a sophisticated AI like that.
They must be light years ahead of us.
It seems so. Their understanding of AI, cybersecurity, it's beyond anything we have.
Imagine the potential if we could access their knowledge.
The breakthroughs we could make.
It's mind-boggling, but also kind of scary.
How so?
We know how tech can be misused.
True, power can be dangerous.
So what's stopping them from using their tech against us?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Are they benevolent protectors or a potential threat?
It's hard to say. Their actions seem driven by self-preservation.
But how far will they go?
And are they justified in hindering our progress?
It's like, do they think we're not ready for certain knowledge?
It's possible. They've seen what unchecked progress can lead to.
Maybe they're trying to protect us from ourselves.
Or maybe they just want to maintain their control.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. We tend to think of ourselves as the pinnacle of progress.
Right, top of the food chain, so to speak.
But what if we're just playing catch-up?
And what if they're controlling the pace of the game?
That's a chilling thought.
It is. So, back to Aria. Were all her missions about cover-ups?
Well, one incident suggests there might be more to it.
Oh, tell me more.
It seems there was a faction on Mars, a group.
A group that wanted what?
They wanted to reveal themselves to Earth.
Really?
They believed humanity had come far enough.
That it was time for open contact.
Exactly. Time to share knowledge, collaborate.
Wow, that's a pretty radical stance.
It is, and it didn't go over well with the MDO.
They were seen as a threat.
A threat to the status quo, to their control.
And what about Aria? What was her role in all this?
Well, the document was vague, but it suggests she was tasked with dealing with them.
Dealing with them.
Neutralizing the threat, silencing them.
So she might have played a role in suppressing dissent.
It seems so, which paints a different picture of her, doesn't it?
It does. It's like she's torn between duty and maybe her own beliefs.
A classic moral dilemma.
But on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. Makes you question the nature of Martian society.
Are they truly unified or are there cracks beneath the surface?
And is Aria a true believer or just following orders?
It's fascinating, but it raises a bigger question for me.
Which is?
If they're so advanced, why all the secrecy?
Why not just make contact openly?
Right. It seems counterintuitive.
It does, but there could be many reasons.
Like what? What are some possibilities?
Well, one idea that comes to mind is cultural contamination.
Cultural contamination?
The idea that contact with us could disrupt their society.
Corrupt them somehow.
Not necessarily corrupt, but influence in ways they deem undesirable.
I see, like our culture could be too chaotic for them.
Our values, our beliefs, our history.
It could throw their society into turmoil.
Imagine suddenly discovering a civilization centuries ahead.
It would rock our world.
Religion's questioned, government's destabilized.
It could be catastrophic.
And they've seen it all before. They understand the potential consequences.
Makes sense. We humans aren't known for handling change well.
So maybe they're trying to manage the pace of our progress.
To protect us from ourselves, in a way.
Or to protect themselves from us.
It's hard to say, but it's a fascinating dilemma.
It is, and it makes you wonder, are they justified?
Is it their place to decide what we're ready for?
Are they playing God with human destiny?
These are questions we'll have to grapple with.
If and when we do make contact.
That is, if they let us.
True, but remember, the document ends in 2124.
Right. So much could have happened since then.
What's become of Aria? Has Earth gotten any closer to the truth?
Has there been another crisis?
These are all questions we'll explore when we return for the final part of our deep dive.
We're back, folks, and ready to wrap up our deep dive into the profile of Lieutenant Aria Ren.
This document has really taken us down a rabbit hole, hasn't it?
It has. Ancient Martian civilization, advanced tech, covert operations on Earth.
It's a lot to process.
It makes you wonder, are we just pawns in their game?
Like they're watching us, pulling strings from the shadows.
Yeah, it's like, what's really going on?
Remember that incident with the dissenting Martians?
The ones who wanted to reveal themselves.
They were silenced.
Right, which tells us something about their society, doesn't it?
It does. They might have advanced tech, but they still have conflicts.
Power struggles, just like us.
They're not some perfect utopia, that's for sure.
Yeah. So maybe they're not so different from us after all.
Well, in some ways, yes, they face similar challenges, governing, dissent.
But the scale is just so different.
Cosmic, you could say.
It makes you think, what do they really want from us?
What's their end game?
Are they just protecting themselves, or is there something more?
I wish I knew, but the document ends in 2124, so...
Rough hanger.
What's happened since? Where's Aria now?
Has Earth gotten any closer to the truth?
Big questions. And unfortunately, we don't have the answers.
But it makes you think about the bigger picture, doesn't it?
It does. Can humans and Martians coexist peacefully?
Or is conflict inevitable?
Are we on a collision course?
These are things we need to consider as we explore the universe.
This deep dive, it's really opened our eyes, hasn't it?
It has. We're not alone. And that changes everything.
It challenges our perception of ourselves, our place in the cosmos.
I used to look up at the stars and just see, well, stars.
Now I see possibilities, mysteries.
It's both exciting and a little scary, to be honest.
It is. The universe is full of wonders.
And maybe some dangers, too.
That's the nature of exploration. You never know what you'll find.
But we have to keep searching, keep asking questions.
Push the boundaries of our knowledge.
Maybe one day we'll make contact.
Or maybe they'll choose to remain hidden.
But either way, their story, it's a reminder.
A reminder of what?
That there's so much more out there than we can imagine.
And that our journey of discovery is just beginning.
Well, folks, I think that about wraps up this deep dive.
They've covered a lot of ground.
Ancient Mars, Lieutenant Aria Ren, the Mars Defense Organization.
Covert missions, rogue AI, the whole shebang.
It's been a wild ride.
Thought-provoking, to say the least.
And hopefully it's left you with more questions than answers.
Because that's what keeps us exploring, keeps us curious.
So until next time, keep looking up, keep wondering, and keep an open mind.
Because the universe is full of surprises, and who knows what's waiting to be discovered.
That's it for us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And until next time, farewell.